Hi guys, today I am going to do a review of a radar taillight, and that is the Magene L508. So what is a radar taillight? Now in a nutshell, let me explain to you in simple terms. It is a bicycle taillight with a built-in radar. So what does the radar do? The radar will emit a wave signal, and as the wave signal travels, when it meets an object, the wave will bounce back into the receiver on the radar, and this signal will be translated and shown onto a smart device such as a bicycle computer or smartwatch or your smartphone. So let's see what is in the box. The radar taillight, the mount for the taillights, 3 different sizes of rubber band for different zip codes, a lanyard, USB-C charging cable, and a user manual. Let's take a look at the product specification of the Magene L508 radar taillight. The dimension is 38 by 94 by 25 mm and the weight is 65 grams. It's got a maximum detection distance of 140 meters. The horizontal detection angle is 40 degrees while the vertical detection angle is plus minus 10 degrees. The relative speed of detectable target is 10 to 120 kilometers per hour. It uses Type-C USB charging. As for connectivity, it supports Bluetooth and N+. As for the battery life, it can last for 4 to 12 hours depending on the mode. It also comes with smart brake sensing, auto sleep, auto wake, and it has a viewing angle of 220 degrees. There are 2 different functions here we're talking about. One is the bicycle taillight, another one is a radar function. And I will first touch on the light functions. So altogether, there are 5 different light modes, and I'm going to show you one by one what each of them do. Oh, and do take note that Magene has got 2 different apps, and in order for us to do the setting on this radar taillight, we have to use with the Magene utility app. So there is only one button on the device here, and everything is going to be controlled by this button. So a long press will switch it on and off, and a single press, short press, will toggle between different light modes. The first mode is a solid mode, and that simply means the light will be switched on permanently. And in the solid mode, there are different settings that you can change. Now this is the least bright, which is 10% brightness, and now I'm going to show you at 100% brightness and 200% brightness. It is really bright. Even on a bright sunny day, you can see this from a distance away. And now this is how it looks like in the dark. This is 10% brightness in the dark, 100% and 200%. Generally, we will use about 30%, which I think is already very bright. So this is about 30% brightness. And other than the brightness, we can also select different settings inside here, which is whether we want to use it with the radar, so you can turn it off or turn it on, the brake light, as well as a warning light, which means when it detects a car at the rear, the tail light will flash to remind the car to drive safely. And these 3 settings are applicable to all other light modes. And you can also select whether to turn off this mode. So once you turn it off and you toggle the button here, you won't be able to get that mode until you turn it back on using the app. So now I have turned off the solid mode, and let me switch it off. It's flashing mode. This is pulse mode. This is peloton mode. And this is the rotational mode. And this is quick flash mode. This is radar only. And back to flash mode. So as you notice, we have go 1 full round and we don't see the solid mode anymore until you turn it back on using the app. Right, so basically I've already gone through the different modes. I've already shown you how different mode actually shines on the light. But I want to show you something, and that is the flashing mode and pulse mode. There are some different settings that you can do. Now inside the flashing mode, you can choose the flashing interval from 0.1 second where it flashes really rapidly to 4 seconds of interval. And next, you can also select between two different type of flashing. Now, it's a bit confusing here on the app. You gotta have to play around. I'm not sure whether there is a technical glitch in this app or bug or something where I find it very difficult to understand. But what I can figure out at the end is that there are two types of flashing that you can get out of this mode. Number one is you get a bright light and a dimmer light. Bright light, dimmer light, which is like what you're seeing now. And another mode is where you can get a bright light and a completely low light. So you'll be having light, no light, light and no light, which is what you usually get from a flashing mode on a normal tail light. So for the pulse mode as well as the rotational mode, it works pretty similarly where you can select the different intervals that it flashes as well as the two patterns of flashing. Whereas for quick flash mode, this is what you can do. You can toggle the brightness and that is all. So it's very straightforward and simple flashing. Now here is the peloton mode, which is something new. Now usually we don't see it on a normal bike. So what is peloton mode actually? It is basically a solid light that is dimmer, so it's kinder to the eyes and when you're cycling in a group ride, so it's better for the riders at the back. Okay, and finally we have got a single radar mode, which essentially no light but just using the radar. While there is no tail light, but you can still tell that your radar is on by looking at this blinking indicator here. So now we are at the outdoor and trying to test how the radar works. And there's also a bend that turns out from the car park. So we are going to get vehicles coming straight from behind as well as vehicle turning out from the car park. So now we see that there are two cars coming from the back within 140 meters. And it actually reflects on my bike computer. Black Mercedes is being picked up earlier on. Okay, it got picked up when it was waiting at the car park there to turn. Okay, there is a motorcycle that's coming from the back, but apparently it's not being picked up on the bike computer here. It only shows one car. And when it passes, so the motorcycle is not being detected here. Now, so as you can see from the footage just now, the bike computer can actually pick up vehicles that is coming towards you from the back as far as 140 meters and as per claim. And even multiple vehicles that is coming towards you can be picked up and reflected onto my bike computer. Even for vehicles that is turning out from a bend, it shows on the bike computer as well. And I'm getting every vehicle picked up here. So I think it is very accurate for my usage. This accuracy is very, very good. And if you're wondering whether this bike radar picks up a motorcycle or other cyclists on the road that is coming towards you from the back, just like other vehicles, well, generally it doesn't pick them up, but if it does, usually the motorcycle or this other cyclist is coming towards me at a high speed. Okay, so that is about the function part. So you know now how the tail light works, different modes, as well as how the bike radar, how accurate it is. I want to tell you also about the design and what I like about it. Well, first off, I think the design is very sleek and very nice. It's very modern looking. I especially like this glossy look. However, the downside of this is that it kind of prone to scratch marks. So yeah, that's something that you gotta be careful with. What I'm very impressed with is that this light has got a very wide viewing angle. In fact, it's 220 degrees, which means the cyclists or other users on the road, when they are traveling side by side with me, they are able to see my tail light. The mount that comes with it is very considerate. It takes into consideration that nowadays seat post comes in various sizes and shapes, and it actually caters to different type of seat posts. Whether you have a round seat post, a D shape, or even a bladed kind of seat post, it all can fit onto this. And to me personally, I find that the mounting is very secure. If that's not enough, I love the fact that it does come with a lanyard. It's got a place to mount a lanyard. And with this, it acts as a secondary security measure, I mean safety measure, to prevent this from falling off my bike and losing it. And I also love the fact that it uses a USB-C charging. So fast charging is a given here, and yeah, it's definitely a plus point to use USB-C. Now, one downside is that the indicator here only shows that there is low power and it indicates by a flashing indicator. But there's no indication written anywhere in the manual that tells me what is the percentage of power that is left when the flashing indicator shows. So it kind of leave me hanging. It is not that difficult to actually include that on the manual. So if I can see that, I can actually expect how long it can last me. In terms of the ease to use, I mean the user friendliness of this device, I am very happy because one single button to rule it all. Everything you can toggle among here, on, off, as well as changing a different mode. So very straightforward to use. And the app itself is also very straightforward. So you just have to go into the Magene utility app, and the settings are very clear, different light modes and what you can do within each of those settings. They are quite clear, except for the flash mode that kind of get a little bit complicated. That took us a while to figure out as well. And this Magene L508 radar taillight can be used with smart devices such as a bicycle computer, smartwatches, and a smartphone with an Magene app. Here is the big question: do you actually need a radar taillight? Well, before I conclude that, let me share with you my riding habits before and after using this radar taillight. Prior to using this is what I do when I have to filter a lane, change a lane, or make a turn. I would have to turn my head over my shoulder to check for the traffic that is coming from behind. And in case there is a traffic that's coming, I will have to do this quite a number of times before I can make sure that it's safe to do the turn. But after using this radar taillight, what I do now is a prelim check on my bike computer. So if I see that there are vehicles coming from the back that is reflected on my bike com, I won't even need to turn my head over my shoulder to check. I will just wait until that it shows a clear sign on the bike computer. Then I will do this head over shoulder check to make sure that it's really clear and do the turn safely. So this has really improved the quality of my ride because it takes a lot of hassle out of it. I can reduce a lot of this head turning, all right, and be really focused on the front most of the time. Well, you can say that this job can be done by using a side mirror, not simply a side mirror. But I find that while using a side mirror, you can't really gauge how many vehicles that is coming from the back and how far are they and how fast are they coming towards you. But by using the radar taillight, all this has been calculated and reflected to me on the bike computer screen without me even have to think about that, and it's just take away those mental load from me. I'm already having a smart bike computer and I already need to use a bicycle taillight. Now I'm just having this extra function embedded into these two devices, so that is definitely a plus point. And well, you know, mirrors are good and simple, but they are just not that aesthetical. You know, if you're using a very cool bike and then you got a mirror that is not so aero, and you know what I mean. Well, but I do have to emphasize that you mustn't rely 100% and solely on this device to gauge the safety. I will still do the head turning as the final confirmation because there are too many variables and devices can fail you. So it is not a device that can replace this head turning to make sure that it's safe, but it is just making the whole process easier. So here's the answer to the question we asked earlier on: do you really need this? Now, I would definitely think that this thing adds values to my ride. It makes my ride better. It improves the overall experience, and also in terms of the safety features that it can add to my rides. And if you are looking at the price point, this is in fact the cheapest option we have right now in the market. as we speak. It is going at 165 Singapore dollars or 119 USD. So I would say kudos to Magene because once again, they have made a very accurate and reliable gadget and at the same time making it available at a very friendly budget. Alright, so I hope you find this video useful. Now, if you have any question or comment, do let us know in the box below. Do remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Bye bye!